Oh, that's first. Yeah, I think we're live, but I hate that. Like, minutes. Oh, that's first. Yeah, I think we're live, but I hate that. Like, minutes. Was that you?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was on mine.
Was that you?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was on mine.
Was that you? Why am I getting a double? Why am I getting a double?
It's picking up your desktop audio. I can hear it through the YouTube stream.
Weird, because
It's picking up your desktop audio.
my desktop audio hasn't got any. Weird, because
It's picking up your desktop audio.
my desktop audio hasn't got any. Weird, because my desktop audio hasn't got any. Yeah, they are, mate. They are, Desert D. Need the gremlins are back. Yeah, they are, mate. They are, Desert D. Need the gremlins are back. Yeah, they are. But if I turn this mic off here.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn this mic off here.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn this mic off here.
Hello there. Hello there. I will talk and see if people can hear me. See if it's just yours on your end.
If I do this, can you hear me?
Hello there. I will talk and see if people can hear me. See if it's just yours on your end.
Ah, that's picking up. If I do this, can you hear me?
Hello there. I will talk and see if people can hear me. See if it's just yours. All right. I think mine's fine. So if there's something on yours that you might have muted, it might have.
Okay. Let us know if you can hear any
I think mine's fine. So
background.
if there's something on yours that you might have muted, it might have.
Okay. Let us know if you can hear any
I think mine's fine. So
background.
if there's something on yours that you might have muted, it might have.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to carry on. If it repeated sound. That's the thing. That's weird. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to carry on.
Yeah. Is there a chance the headset mic is also turned on too?
Sound. That's the thing. That's weird. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to carry on.
Yeah. Is there a chance the headset mic is also?
I've switched the headset mic off.
Yeah. Is there a chance the headset mic is also?
I've switched the headset mic. There we are. Right. Well, sorry, amateur hour, everybody. No, I'm still getting the echo, everybody. I'm still getting the echo. Switch the headset mic. There we are.
Well, that's annoying, isn't
right.
it?
Well, sorry, amateur hour, everybody. Let me just see if I switch off. I'm still getting the echo. There we are.
Well, that's annoying, isn't it?
Right. Let's have a look. Just see if I switch. What have I got on here? Oh, there we are. That's what the problem is. Right. I'm an idiot. That's what the problem is. It should be going. It should be fine now. Let's wait 5 seconds. It should be fine. Do you know what? I'm an idiot because I had the YouTube on, and I thought I didn't have it on.
Oh, there it is.
That is perfect. So look, I had this. I'd practiced. I rehearsed this bloody show so much beforehand, and I do something basic like that. Ugh. It was a rogue. It was a rogue tab. Stadia rocks. Anyway,
figured it out.
You missed my classic joke at the beginning as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The Stadia Monday Night Chat with me, your host, Clive Illenden, as we take the jump to light speed, the Stadia Galaxy, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, of course, may the 4th be with you.
Hello there.
Here we have Brian, aka The Life of Brian. We will be exploring the life of Brian, a boy called Brian. He became a man. We shall be exploring the life of Brian, aka Club Stadia, aka Captain America of Stadia Initiative, and we'll be delving into why he's a content creator that bases himself around Stadia and all things wonderful about Stadia, and his gaming background and all those sort of things. But before we get on with that, of course, this week, let's talk about this, the week just gone past. Of course, let me know also in the chat, by the way, what games you've been playing this week, because obviously there's been quite some major releases, as we all know. So let me know what those are. It'd be good to go. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe. I'm not too proud to ask, as MM2K would say. Like, subscribe, so all of that. Avail yourself of the super chats if you like. It's all good. We all appreciate it. Anyway, so this week was Stadia Connect. I know Club Stadia here has done lots on that, and the Stadia Initiative. You discussed it at quite length, but why not? Why not just sort of discuss some of the highlights? So, Brian, for you, what were the big shout out?
Well, I mean, obviously they kicked it off with a bang with the EA announcement, and I've been very vocal about getting EA games on the platform, and having a big winner like Jedi Fallen Order, as today is a good day to talk about Jedi. That's a huge get. Even if people want to say that the game's months old already, but it's a big deal. It's one of the big surprises of the last year or so. The Star Wars franchise has taken a couple hits over the last couple of years, so having a big hit like Fallen Order was a big
popular,
deal for them.
It was considered critically acclaimed title.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people put that as a game of the year for them. And EA in general needed a game like that to kind of revitalize their company from a marketing standpoint, I think. And then having big titles like Madden and FIFA are a big deal because here in the States, Madden is consistently at least, I think, number 2 in terms of game sales every single year, which is a large number. And then FIFA, of course, has a much bigger global outreach. So having a game like FIFA is probably one of the more requested titles within the Stadia community. So I know Stadia has a big global outreach in terms of people that are outside the States, and obviously you're one of them. And having FIFA is a big deal.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
massive.
Just
massive.
Exactly. And having EA in general is a big deal because I think whether people want to disagree with it or not, they are probably the biggest game company out there that does third-party titles. So having them on board is a
they
big
do
deal.
the big blockbusters. And
Exactly.
like we can all go, I love Octopath and all those kind. A man in the street, as it were, the little gamer in the street, not necessarily heard of something like Octopath. I'm not knocking Octopath, but what I'm saying is
Mhm.
what they have heard of. Well, you got FIFA, mate, or in America, I've got an
Soccer.
American accent. You got men. You got men. That's what the kids are saying. So
Yeah.
they're big. I don't play FIFA myself, but it is like all the Premier League players
Yep.
play it. All the kids play it on the PlayStation and everything like that. It's a massive title, as you say. EA
Exactly.
have the blockbusters. That's their business. They
Exactly.
just want the big, the equivalent of the Marvels or the Star Wars equivalent game, and not in specific those games themselves, but
Right.
the level of those games in terms of blockbusters. So for me, that was one of the most exciting things about it, and it really sort of says, state, this Stadia is coming to the mainstream now.
Exactly. And FIFA is a big deal just because, like, even people that aren't like soccer/football fans, like myself, like I can still enjoy playing a FIFA game because there's a lot of fun to be had. So outside of that, it's just the big global game that is going to be a big seller for the platform, I think. And then I was just checking something here. And then, of course, they bookended it with PUBG, which we
Yeah,
kind of got spoiled about that with the rating on the
yeah,
ESRB
yeah.
ratings board. But at the same time, it's that's a huge game for the platform to get because we're missing a game like that, and it's having that ease of use with playing it, whether it's on your phone, with your computer. You can click a link and just jump into a game, and of course on the Chromecast, which is big. So I
And
mean,
it plays really well
it does.
on
Yes.
um, on Stadia. I used to
Hmm.
play it on the Xbox, and the difference is massive. I have to say, you can see so far. I mean, I played it. I think I played it maybe on the Xbox One X, and sort of
Hmm.
obviously then I noticed a jump up. But the key thing is it's playing in 60 frames per second. I mean, it's a bit of a
Yeah.
potato game. It's, to be honest, in terms of it's a bit clunky anyway, and all that kind of stuff. It is
Yeah.
old, and it was never developed from the ground up as a sort of a genuine game, so it's always lacked that polish. It's always been a bit
Yeah.
sort of built on, and the foundations weren't the best for it, but the principle behind it was amazing. And the
Yep.
Stadia version of it is probably one of the best versions on a console, I would say. I'm going to put it
Absolutely.
out there. Maybe if you've got like a 3 grand PC, you're going to
Hmm.
you can up everything on it. But the thing for me is that
Yeah.
it's in 60 frames per second, so you can move quite fluidly, and for the game, because it's not the most fluid game, and the distance you can see. I've seen
Yeah.
like little tiny specks in the far. The draw distances are amazing, and I
Exactly.
said, oh look, that guy's on a motorbike about 5 miles away. And I always wondered when I used to get shot when I played on Xbox, whatever. And I think, where did
Mhm.
that come from? And it's because some geezers on PC and they've got like absolute sort of crystal a view. So yeah, PUBG, the version of PUBG on stage is pretty awesome.
And that's the thing, you don't need a $3,000
No,
PC to play it at that level, which is obviously a huge benefit to what Stadia does. So
I think a lot of games on Stadia, the only way to play it better is if you've got,
yeah.
a pretty decent gaming rig. And to be honest, if you've got a pretty decent gaming rig, you're not necessarily going to be that interested in Stadia. And fine, that's fine. Why would you? You've got a pretty amazing gaming rig, and that's probably your bag. But for the general experience, you're getting a top quality console experience on Stadia, and PUBG, a game that doesn't really work that well on the current generations
Yeah.
console, works really well on Stadia, and crossplay, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, the big announcement regarding it was it's free. So that's something we did not
Yeah,
know about beforehand.
yeah,
I believe as soon as the Connect went live on their channel, so if you went in there, you're spoiled. But if you're watching it live, you're like, holy crap, this is free with Pro, which is
yeah.
I know it's free in Game Pass for a while. I don't think it's there anymore, but
No, it was just very short lived. It's
gotcha.
about
So
20 quid or something, like $20 if you want to buy it or something.
exactly. And not only that, we got the $50 version, I believe it is. So it's like, I think called the Pioneer Edition.
Yeah,
And as long as we have subscription, we're always going to have access to it, unless they tell us otherwise. But I think that would be a big, big no-no if they pulled that move.
yeah.
But it's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, PUBG never was a very well developed game in terms of how it just plays sometimes, but it is still a massively popular game, and to get it on the platform is a big deal.
The other thing I realised is that it's still really popular as a game to view.
Yep, absolutely.
And like because many people in the chat will know, and somebody did ask, how's my new rig? It's very nice, thank you. But thanks to my new rig, is I can stream, yay! Which is cool. So I've just been streaming on my Lord Kensal channel. I left a link in the chat there at the top. But I was streaming PUBG, and like I would expect to get maybe 4 or 5 views. I don't announce it, but there's quite a lot of non-Stadia people who come to the stream because PUBG is a popular game to stream. So not only is it a popular game for players, it's a popular game for people to watch. And part of the whole Stadia thing is Google realized that not just playing games is massive, but watching people play games is massive, and they want those watch hours to be on YouTube. So having a game like that is really cool because they know people are going to watch it on YouTube. And as I say, anecdotally, I've kind of seen a jump in viewers when I play PUBG as opposed to playing any of the other Stadia games.
And I think a lot of it has to do with battle royales just being an appetizing thing to watch. In fact, that you don't have to like sit there and have this long attention span of following a story or anything. It's like these maybe 5 to 30-minute matches, and then it's back to another one. So I mean, it's very easy to follow kind of thing, and I think that's very pleasing to a lot of people that watch content online, like live streams.
And it's stressful. In a kind of good way.
It is stressful, and people love watching
it. Yeah. The difference between, say, that and Apex Legends. Apex Legends very much in your. I mean, it's slick. It's a slick machine. It's an amazing. I love Apex Legends, but it's very much like you're on the front foot. You go into action. It's just get into that action and you deal with it face to face, mano a mano, straight away. With PUBG, it's much more creeping around, hiding around, and then getting, and sometimes you can just get one shot, sniped in the head, boom, game over, and it's like, And other times you can like not shoot anybody and end up in the top 5 because you've been a bit schnifty, which is the way I play. And then, I've no chicken dinner yet since Stadia, but two second places, and it's been down to bad decision making on my part, panic. I saw somebody talking about tips, and one of the things said, just dive into a hot zone a few times so you get used to getting involved in fights and you can control your adrenaline. And I thought, yeah, that's the thing. Because when I'm in those mano-a-mano fights at the end, it's like, which button? Should I throw a grenade? Should I change my gun? Oh, it's too much to do.
Yeah, I found out what a purple zone was on stream the other day real fast.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Run! Yeah. Yeah, I've often seen Dr. Disrespect on Twitch, like, just go absolutely. Anybody with those, if he ever gets killed by one of those zone things on any of the battle royales, he loses it. What is the point of having these zones? Right, so a lot of people, Power Fantastic is here in the chat saying Fallen Order was good, but quite buggy on the PS4. Rox says, was Madden a sports commentator?
I answered him in chat. So he was at the end of his career, but he started out as an NFL coach.
Right, NFL coach. Okay.
But by the time the games came out, he was a comment.
Different from Madden shoes.
Very different.
Yeah. See, I thought they were the same when I was in America, like years and years ago, and I thought, oh, these Madden shoes. Is that the same Madden?
No,
completely different.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think general consensus there, Jedi Fallen, definitely. What about the other games you kind of they made? There was no, just before we go on the game, there were no sort of hardware updates, but then were we kind of expecting that, or was it more wishful thinking on our parts?
I mean, a lot of people I think were expecting it. I kind of just dove into the game aspect of it because the way Stadia Connects are kind of designed, and obviously it was very apparent on last Tuesday, they're kind of like designed after the Direct that the Nintendo company does.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of designed just to kind of push out what games are coming, and especially the tweet they mentioned that we're going to talk about the new games that are coming. So I mean, they're kind of upfront about what's coming. But
I think it was very consumer focused.
Very
the message, simplified message. Here's Stadia, 2 ways to play. Stadia Pro. get free games and play,
Exactly.
4K, or Stadia's free, just buy the games you want. Simple. Perfect messaging, which was absolutely aimed at the mainstream consumer messaging. And oh yeah, you want some games to play? EA, we've announced here are 3 massive
Yep.
EA blockbuster games plus more EA games to come. So
Yep.
on that note, so they talked about well, actually, before we go, because so they talk, we expect to know more. Let's talk about now. Actually, more games from EA, and I think they're going
Hmm.
to announce it in the sort of the next follow up thing in June.
Yep.
Are you going to speculate for us and the chat? What do you think it may be? Chat. What do you think the other EA games that they talked about
Okay.
might be?
Are we gonna start with the other 2 games first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's predict those. I'm gonna go with Apex and the next Battlefield.
Hmm.
That's I want it to be NHL, but I
Yeah.
don't think NHL is planned yet. So
Uh,
yeah, I'm gonna go with those 2
yeah.
because Apex was discussed in the GDC, and I think they use Google
Ah.
Cloud for their servers. So I mean, there's the
Ah.
relationship already kind of built up with that. So obviously, I'm speculating, but I think Apex makes the most sense,
I
and
didn't. Yeah, I
Battlefield
missed
too.
that. That could be a good call. That could be a good call.
Yeah.
I'd love
Huh.
Apex. I'm hopeless at Apex, but
Mhm.
I do love it because it's so fast and slick. I'm hopeless at PvP, and it's a proper PvP game. Like you got to be good
Yeah.
at it, but there's something. I'm like a guy who bang his head against the brick wall until it breaks.
Yeah.
There's something addictive about it, and it just they've looked at all the other battle royales and thought
Yeah.
we can do that better. We can
Yeah.
take all the best bits, iron out all the kinks and all the other ones, make it fast, furious. The pickups are quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movement is quick. It just feels very good, and I think I think I think it would be great if that could come on, and then you've got another battle royale. It'd be interesting whether the crossplay comes. Well, I think we're going to see crossplay, but it's a question of whether it's crossplay with PC or crossplay with
Yeah.
consoles. I think crossplay with consoles seems to be the favored way
I mean, I think at
for
least for
EA.
Apex, they
Yeah,
need to probably focus on crossplay, at least if they're going to release it in the next
yeah,
few months here,
yeah.
because it's still a young platform, so the population isn't necessarily there, and that's why bots exist in PUBG to begin with. So, yeah, it should be an interesting next month or so because we're getting all this June conferences starting to
Yeah,
build up with the online digital platform. So,
we got the IGN Games Festival.
yep,
I think Stadia has a presence there, or will be
yep,
making.
they
Then
do.
you got Stadia's own thing. We know Xbox potentially have 2 launches,
Mhm.
and they're going to be showing off next gen games,
That's
which is going to be pretty awesome.
yeah,
But also, it'd be them putting their sort of presenting their next move, as it were. At the
yep,
moment, I think we're not hearing a lot from PlayStation, but at the moment, all the action seems to be coming from Stadia and Xbox,
yeah,
and the 2 Phils are very aware of each other's kind of
yeah,
respective actions there, and Xbox have said um, they're very wary of the presence of Stadia, and for quite right. They know that it's the cloud gaming arena is the
yeah,
next space. Obviously, they're concentrating on the near term for the consoles, but then we also know that the Windows PC version of Project xCloud has
hmm
um, begun to be launched. I think no, that's it. They've given it to Xbox staff test,
yeah.
so that means it'll go into beta, the general sort of insiders probably very very soon. So that would be interesting to see what they do. I mean, obviously, graphic the graphic fidelity's got to be upped quite significantly from the current Project X. But,
Right, and they have such a significant backlog. If they can do xCloud right, it's going to be.
mm,
I'm going to be happy about it because I would love to play Gears of War on my phone, for
mm,
instance. So I
yeah,
mean, it's I'm ready for the cloud future because
I
it's so
tried Gears of War on my phone,
yeah.
and I can't. I'm hopeless because my phone's that big. I can't. But I did.
Yeah.
I did try out the xCloud and the Gears of War when it came out.
Yep.
But yeah, so we've got here Dazzadini saying Apex Need for Speed, Battlefield, NHL. Maybe the new Call of Duty Vietnam. Is there a new Call of Duty Vietnam?
We're supposed to be getting a Call of Duty announcement in the near future.
Ah.
I'm not sure if they're confirming what it's about just yet, though.
And of course, we had the Assassin's Creed Valhalla called. And I saw MM2K talking about that just a little while ago in his Stadia dosage. So that looks. We know that Ubisoft are, tightly associated with Stadia. Yeah. They've been right from the get-go. Obviously, Assassin's Creed was the sort of the test model for the tech, as it were. So we know they've sort of been in bed with Stadia for quite a while now. So, do you think there's a high chance that this will be day on date?
I would be surprised if games aren't day and date if they're third-party releases at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going forward. That's what it's like, just another console release available on PlayStation, Xbox, Stadia, PC.
I mean, I understand the apprehension of considering if it will be or not, but at the same time, it's like any new third-party game that we've gotten since, I think, Doom, that we've actually gotten on the platform has been day and date. So yeah. I mean, the timing is the issue. That's the problem. So I mean, that one we could still discuss, but day and date, yeah, it's absolutely coming the same day. It makes no sense otherwise, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a pretty impressive version of it, as it's.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting to that stage where, as you say, in order for things to be day and date, they'll have a team on it, so they'll probably, developers usually sort of run parallel teams for the different versions as you get down to a certain stage. So we know this is not a sort of quick port kind of thing. It's kind of, they've been developing it all along with Stadia in mind. Obviously, they're going to have to do the Xbox normal version, the Xbox Series X version, the PlayStation 4 version, the PlayStation 5 version. So yeah, it's going to be very very interesting, and
absolutely,
I think it's another great title. What about the other games that were announced though? There was some sort of, we know we've got the Crater. Sounds a bit like Crater, which is interesting. Some people have said, oh, it looks a bit like a Minecrafty game. No, it doesn't. It looks like it's a game development tool. That's effectively what it is. It's more like that Big Planet, Little Planet thing. Dreams. It's more like a Dreams type thing, I think, than a kind of a Minecraft scenario. It has a sort of Minecraft Fortnite look to it, I think, but its functionality to me looks like create little mini games, and that's an interesting thing, because presumably you create them and then, like a sort of Mario Maker, you can sort of then share them. And again, that seems to me like a YouTube viewing type thing, and then if you can leave a link in your YouTube video to go and play the game you've just created, what a kind of real interaction with the YouTube streaming market, to sort of say, hey, look, I'm building this game, watch me live stream build this game, and then you render it, whatever it is, and then you go, look, there's a link, go play the game and let me know. And that's going to be a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, having that instant gratification with your viewers is just going to be a whole nother level. That's why, like, crowd play and crowd choice coming eventually is going to be, I think, just so huge. And I think it's going to bring a lot of new eyes to YouTube in terms of, should I stream here or Twitch? And they find out about something like crowd play, and like, wow, that's really cool. That's a good way to engage with my viewers.
Yeah.
Especially with something like Creator. I'm not a creative person, so like Mario Maker, for instance, I've never touched the creator side of it. I just jump into the levels people make. So if I end up playing Creator, I will just be playing the game.
The redonkulous game. The people, how long did it take you to do that? Same with the Minecraft world. You just think, what the?
Yep.
I built the whole coastline of Norway or something. What? Crazy, but yeah, I think there are some people who love that sort of creative aspect and be able to kind of build out, use their imagination, and push these things. People love sort of showing off and going, I think that game is good. Look at this game. I've recreated, Destiny 2 in Creator. Well, you know what I mean? You get that, so.
Yeah, it's insane what people can do.
Yeah. And then you've got more of the sort of what I call this. Well, you've got Octopath. Now, I'm not, a big fan of those. To me, they're sort of, this sort of real hardcore gamer
Yeah.
kind of fan games. But there, I know they have a massive following, and a lot of people really excited about Octopath coming to Stadia. Is it a game that you use? Is it your cup of tea?
I mentioned this on our reaction the other day that I own it for the Switch, but I have not yet to play it because I have a backlog that is pretty much jammed up by Fire Emblem on the Switch, which is a time sink in itself. But yeah, Octopath's on my radar. Whether I double dip, I'm not
Yeah.
sure just yet. But it's a big game that people were very excited for. I know a couple guys were streaming it last night too, so it's a lot
I
of
know
people
a lot
love
of
it.
people in the Stadia community I've seen are like really stoked about it, and they
Yep.
just they're thinking this is good. I'm looking forward to it. And there's like the great thing about the Pro is that you get to try these things. Like the Steam World ones,
Yep.
I wouldn't necessarily have tried, especially the card based one, the turn based one.
Yep.
Although I did remember playing Paper Mario,
Okay.
which had but the one where so similar where you you take each character, you may have three characters, and they take
Yep.
turn hitting them, and then they get hit back, and
Yeah.
in that
Turn-based
kind
stuff.
of
Yeah.
turn-based style. And I love Paper Mario. I absolutely
Mhm.
loved it, and I really I was really surprised. I really got into that.
Yeah.
That Steam World one. So it's the beauty of the fact that obviously the games are free, but also
Mhm.
it's like the fact that it's instant.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that another 10 minutes, you might not be bothered to. I can't be bothered to try it. But the fact that again these games are instant means that you'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And I think then that like a Google search, it then leads you onto other games, which leads you onto other games and stuff. And
Exactly.
that's the beauty. And I think we're also getting to the stage where there is a good already, although it is a small library.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind is saying, "Oh, it's an amazing library on Stadia." Not an amazing library, but it is only 5 months old.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
pretty good for a 5-month-old console, new to the market, with no backstory to it, no originations, no previous console versions.
Right.
Stadia arrived, and then 5 months later, we've got all these games. Loads of them are free, and there's such a variety there. There's some that I've stopped playing because I've gone on to other games, so I can dip back. You
Yep.
could sort of what mood am I in a mood for Doom Eternal? Am I in a mood for a bit of PUBG? There's
Hmm.
such already we're seeing such variety.
And I'm floored by how much they're giving us. Like when they did the first month of 3 games, like, wow, that's cool. And then they did it again. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And then they did it again. I'm like, this level of value is insane that they're giving us. And
yeah,
if you've been a day one founder, I think you've been given at least close to 20 games at this point. So
yeah,
the percentage of games you own in the library off of games you've never actually purchased, it's an insane value to the dollar, I think. And like
yeah,
you said about the instant access to it, like if it's Xbox Live Gold you're talking about, you have to maybe like consider deleting the game if you want to download it. But
yeah.
with
I
this,
do that all that. I used
there
to
we
do
go.
that all the time
Yep,
on the Xbox. I think, oh, I want to play that. Well, you've got enough
yep,
space, and it's like, what game should I get rid of? What haven't I played in ages?
exactly.
And once it just sits there in the cloud, it's not as quite convenient to go. Actually, I want to play that again. I'll wait another hour for it to download.
Yep,
Get rid of that game, and it's and that again, it's another. It may you say, I won't bother playing it. I've done it
right.
now. I'm never going back to it because I've replaced it. I've left it in the cloud now. Whereas with Stadia, yeah, you just go, oh, well, I fancy that. Like I say, and I'm also buying more games than I've ever bought for the Xbox because I always relied on
Yeah,
their Games Pass. I thought, what's the point of buying a game? They always have
right.
such good variety. But here, it's like, oh, I want to try that. I want to try that. I've
Hmm.
spent a fortune, even though we're getting all these free games. Spent a fortune on Stadia games.
But at
I
the same
thought,
time, like the deals you're getting though, if you're
yeah,
waiting for sales, has been
yeah.
very beneficial too. Like,
That's
uh,
they the sale prices on the Pro. Let me know what you think, chat, as well. Are like almost it's like just at the right pitch that you go. It's only 20 quid. Like
exactly.
it's that kind of impulse buy level that is just ideal, and you just think, and the division too was 8 quid or something like for us, like about $10 or something like. It's
Yep.
like it's one of the
I,
best games there is on Stadia.
I mean, it wasn't like the $3 you can get on like Xbox or anything.
Yeah.
It was like that 2 months ago. But we're getting crossplay too, which is a
Mm-hmm.
big deal that you're not getting on other consoles. And plus the ability to play on your phone, your computer, tablet, laptop, Chromebook, TV.
Yeah.
List goes on. So I mean, there's a little bit of I'm okay paying a couple extra bucks because of that flexibility you're getting. So just like you're paying a little extra to get a Switch version because now you have a mobile version of that exact game. So
yeah. And if you think about, if you amortize the cost of your console or whatever it is, factor that in, that you'd have to buy, or your gaming PC, there's your couple of quid extra.
Yep.
You know, amortized across 2 or 3 years. That's the extra cost. Looking at the chat here, so Rick Tone, hello Rick, how you doing, man? He says Octopath is really intriguing. I quite like the idea that it's 8 different characters. And somebody said that's a lot of gameplay.
Well, I mean, you're sinking at minimum probably about 60 hours to complete the game.
That's ridiculous.
Just the main story.
Yeah.
And if you want to complete the game itself, you're probably hitting triple digits an hour.
Yeah, so people say it's quite expensive, but
you're getting your money's worth.
You're getting your money's worth, exactly. People say, oh, 60 quid for a game. I always say to people, you go to the cinema, it's going to cost you, here it costs you like 11 quid. And you get 2 hours of entertainment.
Yep.
You buy a game for 50 quid, 60 quid. You're going to get 20 hours of, depending on what game it is, some games even more, because they're, a lot of repeat value in them. And so that's how you measure the value of the game in terms of how many, it's a form of entertainment. Yep. So you ask yourself, okay, I pay 11 quid, I'll get 2 hours of entertainment at the cinema, or I could pay 60 quid and I get 25 hours of entertainment.
Yep.
So that's the equation you need to make in your head. Rick Tone says, Pro has been great for me. I play way more than I did on the Xbox. Yeah, because, and I think that's right, and I think partly it's that downloading, replacing games. It's the thing that maybe, once new games come on and I'll try them, I won't try them at the same rate that I'm trying new games on Stadia because they're just there, instant. Hey, Chase is in the crowd, in the chat. Hello, Chase. How you doing, man? Much respect.
Godfather.
Resurrector says Octopath was one of the biggest gets. Opinion. Totally unexpected. Even more so, it's only on PC and Switch. Yeah. I always find that a lot of games on Stadia, do you think that there's a sort of, they lean, some of the more indie titles lean more towards that sort of Switch style games, as though they're trying to make it a more sort of family orientated device?
Yeah, I think they're slowly starting to bring because that I think was a big issue right off the bat. You had like your Red Dead Redemptions, your Borderlands, like all these mature level games that kids aren't necessarily supposed to be playing, or maybe parents don't want their kids to be playing. But a lot of the indie titles are definitely geared towards kids. So like a Stacks on Stacks, Kratos definitely going to appeal to kids, I think. Ember for sure will be another one that's going to appeal to kids. So I mean, we're slowly getting it. Get Packed is another one, obviously, but yeah. So I mean, and the Switch obviously has done pretty well. So, and the indies have a big reason for that too.
Yeah. Stadia Talk says, "Hello, Cap." He
can do this all day.
Oh, my PC ran into trouble there. That's all right. I've got another one here. You see that dead old PC? That's my old laptop. You see.
Gotta have like 3 backups.
Yeah, you see, my good one's also good. Okay, so those are the main titles anyway. So we've discussed Connect, and to say we've got June coming forward. We know that they're going to be talking about more games. We're in the season, as I've said before in these chats. I think we're in the season of game announcements. The whole E3 and all that kind of stuff. So we can expect more big titles. I think we've still got Ubisoft Play to come, and I think the hardware they just roll them out.
Yeah.
Then without big fanfares, that's the way they roll, baby.
Well, I mean, I think some of them might depend on like if it's a big feature or not. Like maybe if wireless support for your controller is available, they'll let you know about that. But yeah.
But I don't think they'll do like big like Stadia Connect announcement. I mean, that it will summarize what's happened, but they'll tweet out and sort of say and go on their blog and go, all right, now wireless control is available, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Just on that instant play thing, I think it was Stadia Source was sort of saying, and I think Chase was on there as well, that you can now link straight into somebody's lobby.
Yeah, so
That looked pretty like that. Like the difference between like linking to the game is cool.
Yeah.
Being able to go hit that link now and you go straight into my lobby
Yeah.
is
Uh,
is awesome.
one of the members of my channel, Joel, he showed me a picture that he's been able to do this for a while. So it's just really hidden deep into the features. So I think Stadia Source getting it out there is actually a big deal because they have a lot of eyes on them. So them kind of doing this and putting it out there for the audience is big for us because I didn't know it existed until the other day. So
yeah, but it's a pretty cool feature.
yeah,
It's all part of that interaction with the audience and getting people to stream on YouTube and then people to kind of interact with that and that whole ecosystem Google are clearly going for, because that's, as I say, it's not just about playing games, it's about getting viewer hours, watch minutes on YouTube live, because they see, when you stream, you're putting hours of content out there, as opposed Absolutely. To when you record a video, it's going to be edited highlights, it's going to be like a 50, because you're told, keep your videos to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or whatever, you know what I mean? But when you stream, it's 3 hours. I did a test stream and ended up like it was like I stopped and then started again, and I'd done 7 hours. I mean, it's very addictive. Do you find that when you stream? Do you find it sort of, or do you set yourself timetable?
I usually have like a hour and a half, 2 hour window. If you're wanting to like really dedicate yourself to streaming, that's not going to help as being very minimal like I am, because I don't have as much time as I'd like to. If I just had all the time in the world, I'd probably stream all day. But,
yeah, like Megatron.
Yeah, if I was a superstar like her, I would be able to do that. But no, she's a whole another animal. She knows what she's doing.
That's the thing. Like those, they put in like almost like an 8-hour shift. Like it's a proper 9 to 5.
They do
the money. Putting in those hours. All right, so let's look at the life of Brian, as they say. That's Stadia Connect. As I say, lots of podcasts have done it to death and stuff. But let me know in the chat if you've any other further questions about that. But we're going to talk about you, Brian. This is your bit now. It's all about you. First of all, where can people find you? That's the key. Let the audience know.
I think you've done a brilliant job underneath my little face.
Yeah, just Stadia on YouTube, but it's not your actual link.
It actually is. So if you actually went to that, it would show.
Oh, it does work. Okay, because it came up with something else.
The link. Yeah, the link you have in the description is kind of so old that it predated when Google bought YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think the way they had users set up at the time, it did that. So, but yeah, if you type in youtube.com/Club Stadia, it will bring you to my channel. And then Club Stadia TV on Twitter is where you can find me there. So those are the 2 places to find me. Right
okay, great. Now, so I noticed you. Let's for you. I'm going to play a little video now. If I get this right, it should be amazing. If I get it wrong, and then I'll just look at the idiot. But we're going to just play a little video here. Mm-hmm. No, I knew it. Wrong thing saved. Bear with me, viewers. That we go. That. Right.
It's 2019, and I started playing video games probably about 25 years ago, around 1994. Now, a lot of things has happened since then, but Sega predicted the future back in '94. Why? How? They launched the Sega Channel. What the Sega Channel was, it was a monthly subscription service that would let you essentially stream games from your Genesis without having to leave your home. This was groundbreaking for its time, but in the same breath, admittedly far ahead of its time. While we've seen many versions of the Sega Channel throughout the years in the form of NVIDIA GeForce Now and PlayStation Now from Sony to name a couple, the idea of streaming games has been hard for people to grasp onto, myself included, until now. I pre-ordered Google Stadia Founders Edition. I hold in my hand my original copy of Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sega Genesis that I had as a kid. Now,
right.
Oh boy.
There we go. Okay. So that's. I hope the audience saw everything that came across, but it was just a very interesting foresight from you there, and it's interesting because you say you almost said I pre-ordered the Stadia Founders Edition with a sense of embarrassment there in that clip. So,
Mhm.
at what point did you your sort of ears prick up at the idea of Stadia, and you thought, okay, what's this all about? When was the sort of first time you thought this is interesting?
So all this kind of happened in September, and I'm sitting there. I know exactly where I was at. I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking, just kind of, I love what my Switch does, and the Switch, gives me the option to pretty much play my games wherever I want. However, the Switch misses quite a few things, which is, as we just found out, we're getting EA games on Stadia, which is a big deal. But allow me to play these big titles and do so in an environment where I didn't have to have a huge PC to do it. I didn't have to have the latest and greatest console to do it. I could just do it from the comfort of my home with stuff I already owned, and that was a big deal to me. And at the time, I really didn't know too much about it. The thing I did know was that data caps might be an issue, and I'm very pessimistic about my own internet. So I looked into it further, and I was like, you know what? What's the trouble? Let's try this thing out. And once I started, kind of really getting into what Stadia is all about, and everything about it just clicked to me. Like I love the idea they had at the time and what they were promising and what can happen. And as someone that was streaming at the time too, that not as much then, but someone that was streaming before that, it's going to be another way to stream and not have to worry about all the resources my computer will take using it. So what Stadia can be promised, or what Stadia was promising, and they're going to be delivering eventually, is a platform that's going to be so so unbelievable and so unprecedented, I think. And obviously, more people are starting to find out about it and find out that this is a good solution for their gaming needs.
Yeah. So before Stadia, then you streaming a little bit. You're streaming on Switch games mostly, or other games.
So I started like doing some kind of streaming stuff about 3 years ago on Twitch. Mainly just play like baseball, and then sometimes I would just dive into whether it was like Mario Maker or just general Switch games too. But I bounced around a lot. I really didn't have a focus. But yeah, I primarily streamed until about August of last year. Is when I started doing YouTube specific content.
This David Handley, thanks for the super chat, man. I missed it. The computer I'm watching this on is my old laptop, which, as you know, likes to crash on a regular basis. So I missed that super chat. That's really great. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I better just thought I'd shout that out. It suddenly said chat revenue £5. I thought, who did that? So big shout out to David. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so but then I said it to Chase a bit as well. Creating content, I mean, it's fun, but it requires effort.
It does.
And so what made you think, I want to start focusing on my sort of streaming and YouTube on I mean, you already had a YouTube channel, but it wasn't actually called Stadia, was it? Or was it?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So then you changed it. You thought, right, I'm doing this Stadia dedicated channel,
Yep.
imaginatively named Club Stadia.
Yep.
80s Club Stadia.
Exactly.
Stadia FM. So anyway, you started. So what made you think? What was it about Stadia? You think, I want to shout about this a bit and share the love, as it.
So prior to the rebranding, as you saw with the little stinger there in that video, was Party Ball. That's what my channel name was called.
All
And
right.
that's kind of how I came up with the club aspect of it, because like kind of continuation of the whole party thing. But I switched it around time of that video that you just showed because well, that's not true. That was a couple months later. So from that moment on, like it just seemed like everything I was talking about was Stadia.
Yeah.
And I was starting to find myself like, wow, this is slowly becoming my favorite platform, and all I want to do is talk about it, and everything else is like, whatever. And I didn't have a focus on the channel, which I kind of mentioned with the whole streaming thing. So once I narrowed that focus down, I was like, all right, let's talk about Stadia. And I was like, well, you could go through a list of videos and see something that says Party Ball, and you're like, what the hell does that even mean? So I mean, once I changed to Club Stadia, obviously that's kind of when things kind of started skyrocketing a little bit, and people understood what the mission of the channel was. It was to talk about Stadia and kind of bring it to the forefront in terms of what this platform can do. And since then, I mean, I've met so many awesome people. I've never done stuff like this before until I became more centric towards Stadia, and I just want to be able to kind of help fix the mistruths out there too. And I'm just one of the many spokes on this awesome wheel that we have that are trying to do that same thing. And along the lines, I mean, if I were to say one thing I really like about what I've done so far is just being a part of this amazing, as Chase would call it, mosaic of a community with so many different people. And before all this, I didn't know anyone from outside the country, so I've met so many different people
global,
all across.
yeah,
exactly,
amazing,
so
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, so, but you were one of the first people I know that there's a very small handful of people that were straight on to the sort of Stadia and creating content specifically around Stadia. I mean, for me, it was just like that first Connect. I'd already tried Shadow PC. And did a review of it because my channel is mostly about reviews originally about gadgets and stuff and random stuff I buy from Amazon and just think it might be interesting to do a review. But I did a review of Shadow PC and then I did a review of Project X Cloud, which did really well for me and stuff like that. So I've tested cloud products before and I could see the potential, but they just weren't. But you could equally see that there was a distinct difference between playing on a console, playing natively, like a noticeable difference, as opposed to like a scientific forensic. Oh, look, there's a frame difference. I'm not talking about. I'm talking the perception, and there was a noticeable perception in the difference. But I saw the potential. But when Google said, "Oh, yeah, we're going to go into this arena," I just thought, you know what? If anybody can pull it off, Google can. And then the whole streaming aspect of it, like I struggled to stream because of my laptop, my rig, my laptop, gaming laptop was level entry, so I can never stream. Anyway, it's not powerful enough. So the idea, I used to stream on Mixer via the Xbox, built in, and that was cool. But the chance to kind of stream without, as you say, no heavy resources needed. So no heavy resources for the gaming. No heavy resources for the streaming. To me, just thought, wow, that's just a brilliant idea, and I just love the idea that they send the stream, you don't, so that's like wow, because then it's going to be top notch quality as well. So that was what really excited me. I thought, well, as soon as it comes, I'm getting it. I'm on board. I love Google products. I'm getting a Founders Edition, no question about it, and I'll just do an unboxing. And then, as you say, I noticed you saying about correcting the untruths or whatever. There's something very frustrating and annoying then that drives you, and I think it drives many people in the community to that kind of, oh my God, what are they talking about? I'm going to do a video just to counter them. Because there's so many people like just make up BS and crap and I always found it was just repeat what other people have said. So somebody says, oh, apparently it's crap, and then somebody says, oh, I've heard it's crap, because they heard it from the other person, and then another person does a video going, yeah, well, everybody knows it's crap, and then it becomes the cool thing, to say, and it's just so frustrating. It was back then, and so you start doing content, and then you see other people doing sort of similar content, and as you say, the community's really grown up around that one, almost like, I wish people would just try it. I wish people had the same experience as I'm having. And then there wouldn't be any of this kind of BS. And I've noticed again anecdotally, and I don't know whether you've noticed, that in the subreddits, in Twitter, on the various Facebook pages, not that I kind of read the Facebook pages, but MM2K sent me a gazillion to join, and the overall positivity in the last since it's gone, they've launched Stadia Pro for free for 2 months, and Stadia people go, I've just got this, it's amazing, I've just got this, and I've begun to see people are trying it and loving it, and there's certainly been a change in the tide there.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously you're still gonna have a lot of your detractors. If you go to any like third-party company saying, hey, you can find this on Stadia now, and people just look at the comments, but there's always gonna have that noise with any console. Same with PS5 versus Xbox Series X now, and it's just
you get that tribalism in games. But interestingly enough, those people are they're just beginning to look more and more. At first, they were like part of like a cool gang, and then like people are now sort of drifting away from the cool gang, and they're in the core of that, and slowly but surely they're the last person in the corner going, yeah, Stadia's crap, innit? Yeah, it's crap. Remember when I said it was crap, and it was really hello. And they're beginning. That's what's going to happen to them eventually. They're the ones. They're not going to be the cool kids anymore, because the cool kids are always now playing Stadia. That's effectively what's gonna
Yep.
that's what's gonna happen. So tell me about the Stadia initiative, because again, you the sort of key driver behind that.
Hmm.
Checking my chat here, but go on, tell us about that, because you've like pulled together. Like, it wasn't like most people just go, "Oh, I'll have one person, two people." Like you've just pulled like. Yeah, literally is assemble like that. That Avengers Assemble is a good analogy. It's like, what, all the characters in the film?
Yep.
Is that
Yeah.
doable? Will that work?
It's a big crossover. I've always been a big fan of like the large panel style shows, I guess you can call it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
that was the initial thought process, but I really didn't have the motivation behind doing it just yet until I was, and I don't know if he knows this for sure, but this is actually the first time I publicly said it out loud. So eventually he'll see it. MM2K, me and him, we did a show a couple months ago, and he was kind of very motivating in the fact that like
he's a motivating speaker. He should be a motivator.
Very.
Here's my $10. I'm signing up.
Yep. And he kind of pushed the idea like, I think you're a good host and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I'm much better at like pushing questions off to people and just kind of like being more of a moderator. So that's kind of what I do with the Stadia Initiative is I kind of like produce it and kind of host it and all that stuff. But I kind of let them take the legwork because I think they all have brilliant thoughts, and I picked them all for different reasons, obviously. So like Chase, I mean, he's the first person I met within the community in terms of I was on his spotlight months ago, and I was on that with Germani too, 64. So that's where I met him too at the same time. And I mean, obviously Chase is one of the more knowledgeable people within the community, so having him on was a big deal. Eddie has been a good buddy too, and I couldn't do without him because he's a very smart dude too.
Yeah.
And
He's got his finger on the pulse, is Eddie. He's like, he just like instantly pulls up, like when there's what's that thing that he's pulled it up and he's going, yeah, it's this. Yeah.
Like his smarts were, I needed it too. So he really is like the Bruce Banner of the group, and he is the Hulk of the group. And then MM2K, obviously, I've said this on record before that he's probably one of my favorite creators, just for his energy and his ability to just kind of like really into what he's selling. And then Germani and Meg are both primarily streamers, so I wanted that aspect too. And they're also two of my favorite people to watch as well. And they're all just great people. Like
it's a good, as I say, it's a good mix.
It is,
but I noticed they're really. So what I noticed that you sort of all seem to have a drink. I made a what is it? I don't know. Did I put my thing in the notes here? I think.
Yeah.
That was more like that's it. I said here in my notes, was your idea behind the Stadia initiative? It seems like a lockdown Zoom gathering of friends having a drink together. It's all very chill, and it's very relaxing. But was that part of?
No.
No, it just evolved into that.
If you're talking about the drinking aspect, no, that's just kind of organically happened. It's a Friday night, so we're all just
I get it.
But no, the gag is that Conor McGregor's Proper 12 is our unofficial sponsor. So, at least three of us usually have it on hand while we're streaming it. But no, it's just a good way for us to relax and kind of talk about the last 2 weeks that was, and be able to just catch up in general, because we're all very busy. Even during these times, we still have things we have to get to. And so I mean, usually when we're doing the live streams, it goes anywhere up to 4 hours.
Like there's a last one about 3 hours or something. But I mean, it's good. But I think it has that very. It has a. And I don't know whether you mentioned about those sort of shows where you've got a panel and when it goes on and it's got that sort of very relaxed aspect to it, which kind of makes people kind of talk more freely about Stadia and their views, and so that's and so you feel, I think, when people watch it personally, that it's just like listening to a bunch of friends having a nice time talking about something that they're all into, and then if you're into that, it's just quite nice to watch and listen.
And that's what it feels like too. So I mean, like if we were all just like hanging out like at a bar together, like I feel like that's exactly how it would go. Like, I mean, I've never actually met these people in real life, but at the same time, that I feel like I've known them my whole life because that's just how natural everything felt with those 5 people in particular. Like it's my favorite thing I do on YouTube right now, and I don't see that changing.
I think it's great, and I think it's just great to have that lineup of people, because we can all watch their stuff individually, but it's just nice to have it in that contained thing, and it feels like a gathering.
It really does, yes.
But a chill gathering. It is not like world's going to end and we need you to come together to save us.
No.
But more like, well, the world's not going to end, but we're going to have a chill out party and just enjoy ourselves. And these big names in the Stadia community are going to come together. And as you're saying, they've all got the sort of a different aspect. You'll contribute a different aspect, and perspective and personality to the whole proceedings, and that's what makes it interesting and entertaining, for me. And I love them all. I love you all on it. They're just great content creators.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And the whole Avengers theme came from when I approached them all. I just kind of sent them the Nick Fury gif of "I'm here to talk about the Avenger Initiative." So that's kind of where that all kind of started too. So we're all fans of it.
Oh, another super chat running behind. Hope it good, people. Yeah, we're having a good time here, David. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Always appreciate if you want to show your love for the channel, then it all helps and it's all appreciated. Not necessary, but we love it. So the other thing here, I was sidetracked then. So talking about that, so the community, the Stadia community, that's what seamlessly led on to there. So. What do you think? Yeah, it's almost like this is written down.
Wow.
What are your thoughts about you've touched on it before, but just so gaming in general kind of sometimes has a bad rap in terms of toxicity and stuff, and very much people say, oh, the toxicity is part of the culture, is part of the gaming culture, is an important part, and that's coming from the world of Counter-Strike and all that kind of quite aggressively, nastily put down your kind of opponents. We see it in competitions, people behaving badly on esports, whatever. And it's not necessarily, a good thing, but there is that general toxicity within gaming. But I've certainly felt within Stadia, and it may be because we feel like we're sort of as a community with sort of underdogs, but there's certainly a more inclusive friendliness about it. What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't heard the underdogs analogy. I really like that, actually. The way I've felt about this particular topic is that I feel like we've had to be the mature ones because of how attacked Stadia is as a platform and as a community. So
I think we come together. We feel like
exactly. So we've all felt the the camaraderie of banding together and kind of being on the front lines together. So that's where I think that comes from. Of course, you're gonna have your bad seed here and there, but I mean, at the same time, it's we discuss this and we can discuss this all day because the community is, I think, Stadia's strongest aspect of it. So it's awesome. The maturity level of all these people, and I think a lot of it has to do with the age group of people that are playing on Stadia. It's not many young people. So it is a lot of older people, and that might have a little to do with it, but I think a lot of it has to do with us kind of having to be the proverbial shield and just kind of standing against those attacks that sometimes
I think the age thing is probably a valid point as well. I think you're just slightly more mature and chill back, about a lot of that toxicity comes from the younger people trying to emulate people they've watched or seen, and so perpetuating that myth of toxicity and stuff. But when you're a bit old, you're a bit like, what, really?
Right.
When I play in a PvP with randoms or whatever, and then they might, on Xbox, and then they might send a chat or saying you're a noob or something. I'm being polite there. That's the worst thing. And it's like, really? Is that really called for? But, whatever.
Analytically, my channel has a very small percentage of 18 to 24, and it has no 13 to 18. So I mean, the proof's there in my analytics. I'm not sure if it's the same for you, but
it's similar.
It's
yeah. I mean, I might, I've got other other things in there other than Stadia, but it was very male orientated, which
I mean, that's video games in general too. So,
well, 50% of players are female, but that actually leads to another point. So I think about Stadia is, I think in their marketing and everything, they try to make it very inclusive.
Absolutely.
And you saw in the Stadia Connect when they took the players, there's a real, obviously Meg and Stacy, whatever, Carly, so Stadia streamer. That's what, Carly and Meg in there and stuff like that, and then other, there's a whole kind of mix and variety. And I just thought, and in fact, you've got up front, you've got the head of development or head of tech is Erin. your head of the studio is Jade, and you got head of the other studio there is Shannon Stoodstill.
Yep.
It's like they're representing, and I think that sends out a real good message generally. If you're selling a product, you want to sell the product to everybody.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell it to one segment of the market, and you know that 50% of gamers are women. So you want to kind of make sure that there is that sense of inclusivity and that there's that kind of vibe and everybody's welcome, and that to me is very much Stadia's vibe. It's like everyone's welcome. You don't need to be a $2,000 computer. You don't need the latest consoles. Jump in, play. There's a variety of games of all sorts.
Yep.
Take your pick, give it a go, see what you like. And I think that's a real, for me, I think that a positive for Stadia, but I think it's clearly what they're going for, and it was good to see.
Rock had a Twitter exchange with Aaron Hoffman John the other day about something similar regarding his girls being like influenced by someone like Aaron in her position. Like it's a big deal.
So Aaron is very vocal about that and STEM in representation in sort of STEM sciences, STEM subjects and stuff like that for women. And because I know that she highlighted an article about that and women in gaming and representation in gaming as well before. So and then he mentioned it to me. So I just think it's clearly, I mean, it's not it's within the culture, but it's within also a passionate part of some of the senior leadership of the Stadia team, and I just think you'll see that reflected in the choice of games, in terms of what they bring to the platform, but also in the way games are developed. It just brings a slightly different perspective, slightly more rounded perspective to some of the games, and that's always good. We talk about inclusivity at work and stuff, and it's about people bringing ideas that you didn't, that are outside of your normal realm of thinking. And if it's all kind of male gaming, you kind of sort of lose that maybe the stereotype, but that emotional aspect of it that you see in God of War and stuff like that. There's clearly that kind of influence. And I remember, what was it? Wasn't Jade behind that game where you photograph? I'm gonna bring it back. Oh, I'm not sure what it was. No, so you went around and you had to take. It's gonna bug me anyway. There's a game in which you used to have to go around into different worlds, and your mate was this mechanic pig. He was a pig, and he was a mechanic. And I think the main character was Jade. And she went round, and then she had to take photos of animals in this kind of puzzle world. Anyway, but the point is, it was just a very different. It was a very popular game, but it was just a very different. Instead of going around shooting people, you went around shooting people with a camera to collect information and driving around in a boat. And your buddy was this big pig mechanic thing and stuff like that. And it will come to me in a minute. Beyond Good and Evil, thank you, Zero. I don't know if I just kept talking about it. Somebody in chat shouting at the screen. It was Beyond Good and Evil, and they did do a trailer last year. Was it last year or the year before, actually, at E3 for Beyond Good and Evil 2? And then it's gone dead.
That's dead.
And now, key creators, I think, are at Stadia. Just saying. Never know.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it should be. So, in terms of let's talk about some of your earliest memories. This is really a question for the Generation X Gaming Club. If you don't know the Generation X Gaming Club, you should definitely go and check us out, subscribe. But what earliest sort of gaming memories? What do you sort of remember? I think you saw it in that video that I played. That you mentioned about 84 or something like that.
94.
94.
I'm not that,
not
I'm not
94,
that old. Yeah.
94. Yeah, 94. Sorry.
Trying to remember the very, very first thing. I mean, because it kind of all blends together because it all like had the same, like, it was around the same time. So like I was like playing a lot of NBA Jam with my brother. It was a big deal on the Sega Genesis. Getting through Sonic 3 and Knuckles by myself like all day is like, that's my all-time favorite game is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's just I could play that all day. But yeah, just I mean playing games like that, doing so with my brother. doing stuff with my friends. Like it's not one specific memory. It's just kind of like an amalgamation of like 80 of them, just playing like just sitting around on the floor next to the Genesis,
Yeah.
turning on the old CRT TV and just
Yeah.
losing yourself for 10 hours and just playing a lot of these local co-op games that are just lost to just time and online and stuff like that. So playing games like Space Jam, Mortal Kombat were always just big popular things in my household specifically. But yeah, the Sega Genesis, I guess, if we really want to narrow it down, is probably my earliest of gaming memories for sure.
Yeah, I think it's that those early days was all about the co-op, isn't it? You can play with somebody else in the same, like a split screen like this, like we are right now.
Exactly.
So, and it's good to see that some games on Stadia have got that kind of split screen functionality and stuff. I think it's just a real cool aspect. It's an old style of gaming that's sort of, in a way, it gets put to one side because everybody's playing online, and that's cool. But sometimes it's nice to just have that. Or like I featured GoldenEye. I think I talked about GoldenEye on the Generation X gaming club, and you had like a 4-screen co-op on that, and going around the corridors trying to shoot each other. It was quite cool. Resurrector says here in the chat, they're still developing Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh.
That's been in development a long time, because the trailer they showed, and it wasn't last year's E3, it was a year before, I'm sure, was very up to date, but very different from the original, and there was a lot of swearing in it. I remember going for a very different style. The Brotherhood of Stadia says Wii Sports, which I don't count, and Super Mario Galaxy, which I do count. Yeah, Super Mario, all the Super Mario. Great. Zooming from pinging to planet was like really fun, and I like the way the planets sort of rolled around as you walked up. That whole sort of 3D aspect as you went round the planet is so clever, so imaginative, really cool. We're not here to talk about
Sonic tried stealing that for Lost World. It didn't work out very well.
Didn't work out. No, didn't work out. Yeah. So next then, I think next features. Tech features, we touched on some of them earlier, but what would you like to see within the next couple of months, the next sort of tech features on Stadia? What are the essentials, the must-haves that we need, they need to roll out next?
I think social integrations, because that is, I think, severely lacking. So a good way to share your stuff. I mean, obviously, YouTube is a big part of that, but I think that's going to take longer than another month or two.
Yeah.
But I think adding stuff like something as easy as text messages, easier voice chats and stuff like that. So just making it easier to connect with the people you're trying to play with, I think, is a big deal. And then being able to share like all my stuff without having to use a PC, because a lot of people are using their phones every single day. So
I don't get that. You talk about the pictures and the still. Like, you have that functionality. I agree totally. You have that functionality to catch a 30 seconds or to catch a still. You want to share it straight away.
Yep.
And as you say, even like on your phone, you could just pick up your phone and it's there. It should be there. You should go like share to Twitter, Facebook, whatever, instant. Yep. Where's that little three dotted thing with the lines on it that goes share? That's what you want. Hello, Stadia Player One. Good to see you in the chat. But yeah, share to Twitter that people are saying.
Exactly.
I think absolutely. I think that's iOS people still talk about that.
I'm kind of sitting here.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big thing when it happens. Obviously, that's like a whole shed load. That's just for playing, though, isn't it? Really, I mean, but it opens up a whole new.
It does,
world, and it's such a massive part of the mobile infrastructure, mobile gaming, mobile phone infrastructure. It takes up such a large part of the market. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, I think, as you say, the chat thing is quite. Yeah, because I get invited to games, and it's like I'm in a game with somebody else, but I can't. And then I feel really rude because what can you do? You just got to ignore them,
right? And some
at least
things
you could go, sorry, I'm in a game, mate. Text, whatever.
And getting a friend request and having no clue who it is. I mean, I wish there was some way I could kind of maybe narrow that down and I mean. Yeah,
but an Xbox, you sort of go, it's so and so from such and such.
Right.
At the moment, it's just the name, isn't it?
Yep. It feels very Nintendo-like in terms of how closed off it feels in terms of the social aspects of it.
Yeah.
But even Nintendo, you can still share stuff to Facebook and Twitter. So
yeah, it's weird. But so I did notice I've seen a few articles this week about them integrating the messaging.
Yeah, in the APKs. Yeah.
Yeah, in the APKs. So it looks like it's definitely coming very. Yeah, as you say, I think for me that's the essential. I mean, as I say, I bought it partly because the ability to stream and stuff. Although that's a bit redundant now. I've spent all this money on a pig, but and it will be actually on that streaming. Do you think they'll? I don't know if they will or other companies. So, for instance, when I stream to Mixer, I use Lightstream, which was a cloud functionality that you could add overlays and your camera, and so I could stream natively direct from using the Mixer app built into Xbox.
Okay.
But I could then I just attached it to the Streamlabs in the cloud, not Streamlabs, Lightent, sort of driven by Streamlabs, but Lightent, which is a cloud functionality, and you can create scenes and add a camera, add different audio, add overlays, add in pop-ups and stuff if somebody subscribes or follows, all that kind of stuff. So it basically you got a professional looking stream going and using the baked in app from Mixer and then Lightent. And so that's the one thing I kind of wonder about. The great thing about watching people stream, I always find, is having their little shot. I always like to have the camera shot, your picture in the corner there going on.
Exactly.
So I'll just be interesting. I don't think that functionality will be built into the ability to stream straight to YouTube from Stadia. But do you wonder whether they'll create apps, or somebody else potentially would create an app to allow you to do that?
That's my biggest question: is how it's going to be handled from will I be able to use my own equipment kind of deal? Because if I can't have my camera, if I can't use my Yeti, that's going to make me just want to use OBS still. So I could see them doing some kind of cloud-based OBS thing where you can hook up your peripherals and just use the cloud to power your stream. So I don't know if it's going to be restricted to just your PC first or how they're going to do it. And I think they're still trying to answer that question themselves, which is why we're still waiting on that kind of thing.
But, I mean, my view is that Stadia probably wouldn't offer that functionality, but if there's enough people doing it, then companies like your OBS Labs or like I said, your Lightstream or Lightent, I think it was called Lightent. I always work in maybe I'm talking Lightstream. I think it's called Lightstream. Lightstream and stuff like that, which again, that functionality you can add to Twitch, YouTube and stuff. You sign in with your Twitch or you sign in with your Mixer and you sign in with whatever, and then it can then create all these scenes, and then your stream feeds through theirs. Takes over all the overlays on. It's really cool. But I'd see them adding that functionality if enough people are streaming. That's all right. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to say any questions in chat for Brian here. If you want to understand the life of Brian, I'm going to keep saying that, Joe, because I said it at the beginning. I just think it's quite amusing, making me laugh, very entertaining. Then let you know. Hi, Brian. Your headphone looks cool. Which one is that? His look cool. What about mine?
Thank you.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm a headphone. These are the Beats Studio 3.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So they're noise canceling, Bluetooth, and then when I want to talk to my computer, I wired it up. So
yeah. And your mic is a Yeti, bog standard Yeti you've got there.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. It's nothing special.
There we go. Mariko admiring his headphones. They're Beats. Go. So there's some debate in the chat about why it's taking so long on iOS, saying it's the Apple policy stopping them. They'll get through it.
I mean, it's speculation right now. We really don't know if there's what really is going on until Google or Apple straight up says this is why Stadia is not functioning, or that's what Google's. I mean, they're not going to do that.
I think the market will dictate that they will eventually resolve that issue, because the Apple going, all right, we'll take it, but do us a favor, and there's some other thing that we're disputing. You deal with that, we'll deal with this sort of thing, and that's the way these things usually go anyway.
Right, and for all we know, it could be a compatibility issue too. So I mean, until someone comes out and actually puts the word out there what's going on, then we can just speculate whether it's policy or compatibility or whatever the case may be, though.
Yeah, a compatibility question might be.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, different tech, isn't it? Really, what's driving it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you subscribe to Club Stadia if you haven't. I'm sure everybody in the chat's already subscribed, but if you haven't, then make sure you do. I have left a link, I think, in the description. So click on that link. Go over to see Brian at Club Stadia. He does great content. I've always liked his content. It's very slick. Slicker than me. Slicker than my bumbling amateur attempts at the beginning today because I'd left my YouTube on and was questioning. Earlier today, I was testing this out, and I got my son upstairs to said, look, here's the link. You go on the other camera, and click in, and I'll test it out. And I couldn't hear him, and I was shouting at him, what's wrong? Have you got it on mute? Have you got it on mute? What's wrong? I don't understand. I hadn't plugged my headphones in. I'm yelling at him, thinking, he's hit mute or he's done something wrong, and it's like I'm literally got the headphones. Well, actually, even though it's in a completely different computer, so it's like ridiculous. Anyway, but yeah, you've sort of got that streaming thing down to a fine art, I think, over at Club Stadia. So definitely, Brian always does amazing content, and the man behind, the Stadia initiative, really, which is great, great entertainment. Some of the biggest names in the Stadia community coming together, but like I say, like a glorified let's have a Zoom and drink chat, but much more informative than that, really. I think after about the first hour, you really all start chilling down a bit. Now, I don't know whether it is that the drink, or you just feel it, you're just relaxing into the whole evening. It's a Friday evening, you're kicking back, discussing all things Stadia, and it's just it's a great show. And you release it as a podcast as well?
Yeah, I'm a little behind on episode 2, which I will start working on when I get home from work in the morning. But yeah, I got to go through it, make sure I get all the swear words out, so it's easy censored listening to if you're on your podcast apps. And we do an audio portion, and then we do a VIP after show for just the live YouTube audience. So we kind of break it down, just talk about the big topics, and then just kind of talk with the chat and just kind of shoot the breeze after that. So
yeah, it's a great show. And if you haven't caught it, if you subscribe to Club Stadia, then and hit the notification button on his channel, then you will be notified when the next Stadia initiative #TSI goes live. And I say it's well worth doing that. But always check out Club Stadia's. Always worth it. I wanted to say a massive thank you for coming on today. It's been great, and it's been really interesting. I always like to hear the reasons why people, the content creators, in the Stadia community, why Stadia, why they want to create content about it. I think it's really interesting. And then the backstory, the history of the sort of gaming backstory, as it were. And I just think it's really useful because you just get a different, they're different, as you said before, there's a real different mosaic of people in the community, and it's just really interesting to see how sort of people have come to this shining light that Stadia, the sort of, like film now, I can't remember what it's called now. Close Encounters of the Third Time. They've all gathered at the shining light, attracted towards it. But so yeah, I just want a massive thank you. I hope everybody appreciates Brian coming here. Appreciate it on your time. I know you're a busy guy, so I say big thank you. All the details on the Twitter account there, so make sure you go and follow him on Twitter. Subscribe to him on Club Stadia, and as I say, chat. Thank you all for being here. It's been absolutely great. Thank you for all the super chats that have been there. I really appreciate it. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you had a good evening. I hope you enjoyed it. And on that note, we'll seamlessly hit the sting, and then we'll say goodbye.